We are back with the final week of this series. Today we're going to talk about quarterly planning. So, in the first week, we talked about the importance of daily planning. And this all came down to the first step, which is the ultimate step. You have to figure out what you want your life and business to look like, because that is how I got here today as Sailynn, your fun business coach, here supporting you. One of the things that is how I'll tell you a little bit about my backstory, is I started in business 16 years ago. It was 2007. I was taught by my parents, work hard, you'll get everything you want. That led to 80-hour weeks, building $1 million business, but me being burnt out, broken, and mentally, physically, and spiritually overwhelmed and exhausted. After 3 years of that pace, I drew a line in the sand and I said something has to change. And the first shift that I made is, what did I want my business and life to look like? If you do not know that, then how are we supposed to develop a business model structure for what you want? Now, I know some people really struggle with what they want, so it's okay to back into it the opposite way of what you don't want. I was just working with a client on that last week, and we made a don't want list, so we kind of backed into it. So in the first week of this 4-part series, we discussed what you need to do daily, and those were your income producing activities. What are the items in your business that you need to do every single day that are going to move the needle? The next week, we went into weekly planning, and everyone wants to know how I was able to switch from those 80-hour weeks to 16 and triple my business revenue and 4x my personal paycheck. And that is because I started sitting down once a week and putting more white space in my calendar, free time, versus filling it with just busy work. So if you don't have a weekly planning session in your schedule, this is something that you need to implement ASAP. I like to do mine on Sundays. It literally takes me 15 minutes and it sets me up for the most fabulous week. The third week of this series, we went into monthly, and we talked about crunching your metrics, right? Because if you don't know what moves the needle in your business, how are you supposed to know what to double down on? So your monthly metrics are something that you should be tracking every single month. And I told you that tomorrow I am hosting my Planning for Profit workshop, where we're going to dive into the 3 most important metrics that every single entrepreneur needs to crunch every single month. Now, whether you're product, service-based, brick and mortar, online, it does not matter. These 3 metrics are exactly what you need to do. And then I give you an additional list of 26 other metrics that you can use to take it a step further. So on a monthly basis. Now this week we're talking all about quarterly, right? This is the sweet spot, right? So let me give you an example of how, by me setting a quarterly, I could use goal or task or whatever the word is, but let's use the word goal. So I set a quarterly goal for the 4th quarter to figure out my email deliverability and improve my email, right? And so what I did was I did some research at the end of 3rd quarter on 2 things that I could try in 4th quarter and see how it would affect my emails, and then I would analyze them this week. So on Tuesday of this week, I sat down for, it was probably about an hour, and I analyzed my emails for 4th quarter, and then I made some key decisions, and those key decisions have led me to automatically reducing my workload. Now, here's the thing about quarterly planning that I absolutely love and swear by. I have been doing this my entire career, right? So even before I became an entrepreneur, 90 days is long enough to test something. So I wanted to test my email deliverability and figure out how I could improve my email open rate, click through rate, and decrease my unsubscribe rate, right? And then what I wanted to do was I said, okay, what do I need to do? So I did a little bit of research on what, like, some easy shifts I could make for 90 days. So that was fourth quarter. And then I implemented those for the fourth quarter. And the thing about it was, right, 90 days is long enough to test something to see, does this make a difference? Now, it's also long enough that if midway through, like maybe you're at the end of the first 30 days or you're around that like 45-day mark and you're saying to yourself, you know what, I'm seeing these results. I wonder if I made this small tweak, if this would help or hinder, right? So 90 days is also long enough that if you need to pivot midway, make an improvement, good or bad or whatever it is, that you still have a long enough runway to see how that pivot's going to play out. Now, what I love the most about 90-day, right, planning, strategic quarterly planning, is that 90 days is long enough to see results, pivot, but also not feel like you wasted a lot of time if whatever you did totally tanks. What I had to do for this email delivery example is I had to actually double my email work for the quarter, right? So instead of just sending one email, I had to split my list and I had to send two emails, which was a lot, right? It took me more time, but I wanted to know if by making that switch, if it would improve those three analytics that I was looking to improve. And so I was willing to add on that extra step, right? That extra little bit of work to for 90 days to see if that was going to pan out. And so on Tuesday, I sat down and what I realized is after I crunched the numbers that by me adding on that one little step, that one additional piece of work, I'm going into first quarter reducing my workload even less because the numbers clearly showed me that I could reduce my workload and probably get better results. So now what I'm going to do in Q1 is I'm going to take the results from Q4. I made a key pivot, right? I'm like, okay, this is the end result. I am now going to work on that for 90 days in Q1, and I'm going to reassess it again at the end of Q1 and see where it leads me to Q2. And so there is gold in quarterly planning because what it does is it takes the daily, weekly, and monthly and gives you a little bit of a bigger picture, a little bit of a longer runway to test things that's not so long as a year. Like, you know, when those gurus say, oh, go implement this and stick to it for a year in your business, like me as a commitment phobe, like gets to be like, oh, you want me to commit to something for a year? That's way too long, right? And with the fast changing world and economy and technology and all of those different kinds of things, committing to something for a year is actually a really long time. And when I did make a commitment to something for a year this year, it did not go as planned, right? I probably should have cut the string 6 months in, but a guru told me I needed to stick with this for a year. I did because I believe them, even though my gut said to pull the plug at 6 months. I should have listened to my gut because in my experience, I know 90 days in, I got this data. Another 90 days in, I got this data. At that point, 6 months in, my gut said, pull the plug, make a pivot, do something different. And I didn't. I listened to that guru, and I spent the last 6 months not necessarily wasting money, but not getting me any farther that I wanted to be. So, lesson learned, right? The gurus are not always right. You have to go with your intuition. And that is why I love quarterly planning. Because as an entrepreneur, as a woman, as a human, we all have those gut feelings. And a 90-day plan gives you enough time, as I said, to test something new, do a pivot midway, and also not feel like you wasted a lot of time if it doesn't go as planned. And this is why I have been using this quarterly planning strategy in my business since 2012. When I drew that line in the sand in 2010, I made a lot of shifts in my business. And one of the things I started doing was started meeting with fellow entrepreneurs. They were fellow franchise owners. We started meeting quarterly, and we did exactly what I've been talking to you about this month. And that is why in 2023, I started these planning for profit workshops, because I wanted to take my success that I had had for the past 10 years in business and teach you this strategy. So tomorrow, Thursday at 12 p.m., I am hosting my planning for profit workshop. You are like, oh my gosh, one, I don't know what the heck I want out of 2024 yet. Like, what do you mean? What do you want, Sailynn? Like, what does that even mean? I definitely don't have a daily, weekly, monthly plan for Q1, right? And you're just feeling overwhelmed, burnt out, stuck, stagnant. You don't know what to do. I invite you to join me tomorrow, 12 p.m., for my Planning for Profit workshop. I run this workshop on the last Thursday of the quarter to help you have a plan for the next quarter. I'm going to guide you step by step by step through the process. You're going to leave this workshop tomorrow knowing exactly what you want out of 2024. You're going to have a daily, weekly, monthly plan, and you're going to know exactly what to do every single day in your business. And I give you my calendar. You're getting my exact calendar on what I'm working on in 2024. And then I give you a template for you to make your own, right? So you get to see my Q1, all the advertising, all the metrics, everything I'm doing that I plan out. I have used this strategy for 10 plus years in business. It has not, done me wrong. This is one of the things that I used in order to triple my business revenue, 4x my personal salary, and reduce my hours from 80 to 16. So if you want to be there tomorrow, save your seat now. So let's just go over everything that we covered in this 4-part series. 1, daily. You need to know what moves the needle in your business. Those are the tasks you do every single day. First thing, no matter what, you get them done. 2, weekly. You sit down for 15 minutes every single week and you plan the white space on your calendar and stop putting in all the things that are just keeping you busy. 3, monthly. You crunch your metrics so that way you have an idea of what is going on in your business so you know what to ditch and what to double down on. And then 4, quarterly. You test out new things in your business, new products, new services, new programs. Like I said, email delivery, improving numbers, improving your communication, improving your skills. Maybe it's speaking, right? Whatever it is, but you test those things for a quarter and then you learn from those results so you can go forward and double down on them even more in the next quarter, or pivot or ditch or whatever it is. This is the secret to building a successful business that allows you to work less and make more and we're going to do this together for 2024. I can tell you the reviews that I get on this workshop are always amazing. People love walking away with a plan for the next quarter so that way they feel confident in what they're doing. Plus, you also get to meet some other women in business while you're there so you can connect with them. And yes, there is a replay. If you can't come live, you can watch the replay for 30 days. Or if you need to leave early, that's okay too, or come on late. Whatever it is, we will get you there. The workbook and the Zoom link go out tomorrow morning, so make sure that you sign up today so I can see you tomorrow. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. I'm off.